It is Charlie O'Connor joining us from the Wells Fargo Center. Chuck, you know how we started. Thoughts on the game and any standout comments from the post-game availabilities?
Yeah, there were definitely some comments that are worth talking through, but I guess I'll just go with my general impression of the game first, because it is kind of a cliche impression, but I do think that it's the right one in this game. Like, this is a game where if you're a team that knows how to win, you win this game. And if you're a team that doesn't know how to win, you find a way to lose this game. Because I thought the Flyers played well enough to win this game. And I thought Vegas played not that great. You know, they can play a lot better.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at it from Vegas' perspective, this is the kind of game where it's like, oh, right, Vegas finds a way to win this game because they're Vegas. You know, they didn't have their fastball. They had a lot of guys out of the lineup due to injury, but they just find a way. And on the flip side of that, the Flyers, while I thought they played hard, they obviously made some mistakes, but they found ways to lose, whether it was a goal that should have been stopped, whether it was a turnover that shouldn't have happened, whether it was just a weird play that doesn't bounce their way. Like, for whatever reason, you know, teams like Vegas win these kinds of games, and teams like the Flyers lose them. And the Flyers had multiple opportunities to put Vegas away. They didn't. They could have ended it. They don't put them away. And then you have the entire second half of the third period in overtime. They have multiple times to try to find a way to come through. Like, if the Flyers are a team that is used to winning on a regular basis, you think they find a way to score late in the third, or they find a way to score on that power play in overtime. They're just not there yet. And I don't think they played a bad game. I don't want to rake them over the coals for this. It's just that they're a team in my mind that isn't ready to win these kinds of games consistently, and Vegas is a team that very much is. And in my mind, that's the big thing. Like, there were some interesting things that came out of the post-game presser. I thought Sean Couturier, very, very captain-like. That was the first question. It was my question. I didn't even bring up the turnover. He brings it up unprompted and basically says, because I asked, you know, is this a game where you guys just needed one more goal to put them away? And he's like, no, I don't think so. I basically think that we didn't do a good enough job managing the puck in key moments, and I was most to blame on that for the bad turnover at the end of the second period. If we end up in second intermission up 2 goals rather than 1, it's a totally different third period. You know, look, Couturier, that was a bad play. And he's right to acknowledge that. That said, like, he's not the only reason they lost this game, but it was a captain thing to do. It's what you do. You take the onus on yourself. I thought that was there was a good thing from Couturier as the guy with the C, as the veteran. And then John Tortorella basically said after the game, look, you know, aside from maybe 7 or 8 minutes in the second period where we kind of lost ourselves and weren't managing the puck well, he's like, I liked our game. I thought offensively, this is what he said. He's like, offensively, he thought they created more than they've created most games this season. This might have been one of the best offensive games in terms of quality chances that they've had this year. They did a lot of good things. It's just that teams like the Flyers find ways to lose, and teams like Vegas find ways to win these games, and that's what I think happened here.
Yeah, I thought there was some encouraging efforts by individuals in this one, but overall, Vegas is better, and this is what makes them, you know, the winningest expansion team since, like, the freaking Flyers. You know, this is why they're so good, because they figure out ways, even like when you said they didn't have their fastball tonight. One of the encouraging efforts I saw tonight was Joel Farabee. Now, he doesn't end up with a point, and honestly, my question is, like, how? How the hell didn't he score in this game? But 5 shots on goal, plays almost 20 minutes, had like 8 attempts. I think all of them were scoring chances. What did you think of Farabee and his promotion to that top line with Coots and TK?
Well, he was great tonight, aside from the fact that he didn't score. Yeah. But if you're talking about process, his process was fantastic. And I think with Farabee, it's funny. So when we interviewed Tortorella after the game, I think Jackie Spiegel asked about Joel Farabee in one of the final questions of the press conference. And Tortorella said he believes that Farabee for the past 2-3 weeks has been playing really well, has been involved in a ton of scoring chances. The puck's just not going in. I'm not quite as high on his play over the last 2 or 3 weeks. I think he's had good games scattered throughout, and then I think he's had games where he hasn't done much at all. So John Tortorella might actually be higher on Joel Farabee's recent play than I am, but I absolutely believe he was really good tonight from a process standpoint. That said, and we talked about it, I believe, after Saturday's game. I think you asked me about Joel Farabee after Saturday's game, and look, Joel Farabee is an offense guy. He is. When he came up, we thought he was going to be a two-way guy. We thought he might be like a Justin Williams type. It doesn't look like that two-way element is ever going to come around. He's at the age where it's kind of like he is what he is. So if he's going to be an offense-dominant forward, he has to produce offense. And it can't just be in the form of scoring chances. It has to be in the form of goals and assists. And look, I'm a very process-oriented person. And if Joel Farabee has 5-10 more of these kinds of games, he's going to score a lot of points. Because this was a game where created more than enough chances to score. Puck just didn't go his way. What does concern me, and John Tortorella straight up said this after today's game, what concerns me is, can he keep doing this if the process doesn't lead to the results? And John Tortorella said, he's like, look, Joel has a tendency to lose his confidence. And what we need him not to lose his confidence, despite the fact that all these chances he's creating aren't going in right now. We need him to just keep plugging away, and eventually the points are going to come, and he's going to start racking them up if he keeps doing this. But if he doesn't keep doing this, then he's going to fall off a cliff because he doesn't have that two-way element to his game to keep him useful when he's not scoring. So I liked what I saw from Joel Farabee tonight, but given the player that he is and given the role that he has, like, he can't just create scoring chances. He's not a third-line checker. He's a scorer. He's a guy that's in your top 9, ideally in your top 6, and these scoring chances have to start going in. Now, again, process good, so I'm certainly not writing him off. He had a strong game, but he has to start scoring. He just has to.
We've heard he has to start scoring quite a bit out of Morgan Frost. Over the last couple of years, this is just kind of who he is. He takes about 20 games to really get going. Last game, Tortorella said he liked his process, thought he was showing some good signs, made some defensive plays. Tonight, started with the defensive play, scores the goal. But really, the miss of the season, the rivalry, Flyers versus Open Nets, continues, and it is one-sided. It is a beatdown by Open Nets so far this year, Charlie. But what did you think of Morgan Frost now that he's back with Michkov? Another encouraging game, he scores the goal, or is it more a story of missed opportunities?
No, I think it was a good game. I'm not going to dwell too much on that missed shot. Like, yeah, he missed that shot. I feel like part the reason why you're maybe dwelling on it, and I think this is definitely the case for social media, is because it was Michkov who made the pass.
100%.
So everyone wants Michkov to get as many points as possible. So if that pass comes from Joel Farabee, maybe people are just like, that's a bummer. But because it's Michkov, it's like, well, you just missed off an opportunity for him to rack up points for the Calder. No, I think Morgan Frost had a really strong game tonight. Yeah, he misses that one goal, but he gets the one goal early on. He gets an assist on the Michkov goal. He had that really, really good dangle in overtime where he just like that. That's why you don't want to give up on this guy, because he does have the skill. He does have the talent. And what I liked about it, and I actually asked him this after the game, because last game, his first game back in the lineup, it was more defensive. It was the energy was there. The puck play maybe wasn't. But this game, you had the puck play showing up. And I asked him, I was like, was that somewhat intentional where were you're more focused on kind of building the foundation in game 1 and then maybe taking more risks offensively in game 2? And he said, not really. He basically said, look, John Tortorella has made it abundantly clear to me that my role is to score. So I can't really afford to have games where I'm just good defensively. That's not going to cut it. That said, I did feel freer and more confident in this game, which probably just plays into the fact that he was out for a while and probably had to get a little bit of the handle and a little bit of the feel back. I thought he had a really good game. Obviously finishes with 2 points. Yeah, maybe he could have had more. Most players in this team probably could have had more in this game, given the amount and quality of scoring chances that they had. Maybe Morgan Frost is always going to be a guy who makes people want more, because you see the skill. You see the dangle that he made in overtime. And you're just like, man, if he ever put it all together, maybe he's never going to put it all together in the sense that he's going to be the point per game, 90, 100-point guy that people dreamed he could be when he was racking up all the points in juniors. But this version of Morgan Frost from tonight can be a darn solid middle 6 scoring center. And I don't know, like I'm working on a piece on Morgan Frost, might be out tomorrow because apparently they're not practicing, so that'll give me time to write it. But I don't know if Morgan Frost fits the long-term plan for this team anymore, but I know he fits a role now, because they don't have centers that are offensively oriented other than him. So whether, if they trade him, it's not going to be because they don't need him now. They need the good version of Morgan Frost right now because they need somebody to play with Michkov who's offensively oriented, who isn't going to be taking all the tough shifts. Now, whether he fits when Luchenko's up and Couturier is a straight up 3C, that I wonder. And that I wonder if, like, at some point he's going to be pushed out even if he does get it together. That said, on this team, in 2024, 2025, the Flyers do have a glaring need for Morgan Frost, and that guy did show up tonight, so that was good to see.
Charlie, hey, JP over here. I wanted to get your thoughts. So heading into the second period, they have a 2-0 lead, right? Emil Andrae gets his first goal, and I'm thinking to myself, all right, well, there's no way they can, lose a 3-0 lead, and then Jack Eichel gets that goal that kind of spurts to 3 goals in the second period. Was there a moment or a play you could think about where the momentum shift for the Golden Knights? It was a back and forth second period too.
Yeah, it's tough to say because, that second goal, it seemed like the momentum shifted completely in the direction of the Golden Knights. I thought at that point they were just going to run over the Flyers the rest of the game. But then you have the momentum stopper Michkov who scores. And suddenly then it's kind of back to start. Flyers are up 2 goals again. It's 4-2. I really think that the turning point of this game, I think Couturier was right. I think the turning point of this game is that goal they score late in the second period. If the Flyers go into the third period up 2 goals, I think they win this game. And again, it was an uncharacteristic mistake from Couturier. I'm not going to kill him for it. He has a bad turnover and then takes the penalty to basically make up for the bad turnover. And then he's not on the ice for when they score on the power play. Maybe somebody else could have won a face-off or done something. So I can't pin it all on him. That said, that to me is the turning point, because I don't want to say the turning point was the first or the second goal, because I think Michkov did a really good job of halting that momentum. And the Flyers kind of were able to sit back and reset and be like, all right, we're up 2 goals. Let's go into the third period up 2. We'll settle down. We'll get this on lockdown. I think it's that third goal that really changes things. And I thought the Flyers had a good third period, but the thing is that Vegas is such a good team, even when they don't have their full complement of firepower. They're such a good team. They have confidence they're going to be able to come back. You go into that third period with it only being a 1-goal game, you're playing with fire. And I think ultimately that's what happened.
Charlie, a couple more for you. My assessment of Ivan Fedotov tonight was he made some really good stops, but ultimately just not quite good enough. Just missed a bunch of makeable saves. Is that your assessment as well?
Yeah, I guess. The 2 goals that he made a lot of really big saves, especially in the beginning of the game when Vegas was kind of all over the Flyers. So the Flyers weren't that great in the first half of the first period. Then in the second half of the first period, they got really going. But I thought the 2 goals I didn't like. First goal I didn't like, and I saw a lot of people, which I understand, he was the one who turned the puck over. I saw a lot of people giving Scott Lawton a lot of grief for his turnover on the first goal. To me, that pass from Fedotov, that is not a smart pass to make, because Scott Lawton along the boards right there, he is being marked tight. And, is it possible that he can receive that pass and either eat the puck or immediately push it up the boards? Yeah, it would have been a really tough play, but he could have done it. But to me, that's Fedotov putting his teammate in a bad position. It's putting his teammate in a position to turn the puck over. So, Lawton makes that turnover there, and ultimately I'm sure he wishes he would have done something different. But to me, Fedotov should never make that pass in the first place, because once Lawton turns that puck over, then everyone's in scramble mode. So that's number 1. Number 2, the fourth goal, the game-tying goal, that one, it's a shot from a dangerous area, but it doesn't have a lot on it. It kind of slips through him. You could see by his body language after the goal that he was angry it got through him. I asked him after the game. We actually interviewed him. He basically said that it was one of those plays where he was in the reverse VH when the initial pass is made, and he just wasn't able to quickly enough get into the position he needed to be in to make that stop. It was a good play. It was a good pass. But I would like to see a save there, especially given the circumstances and given the moment. So those are the 2 I don't like. The first one because of the playing of the puck, which I just don't think was necessary. The fourth one because I really, really wish he would have stopped it.
No, that turnover being put on Scott Lawton to me is how quarterbacks get credited with fumbles of bad snaps. And it's like, it was over his head or it was on the ground. I don't know what he was supposed to do with, like, yeah, I guess that's on Scott Lawton, but like, that's a buddy pass if I ever saw one.
Yeah. and he turns the puck, like Lawton has a bad turnover on the second goal.
Yeah.
That one you can pin him
Sure.
on. Like that was on Lawton that send him the other direction. But the first goal, to me, that's more on Fedotov for kind of killing him with that pass.
Yeah. This is the last one before stars, because I just want to talk about Emil Andrae. Scores his first goal tonight of his NHL career. He's +3 on the Flyers' first 3 goals. Today, Torts kind of compared Andrae and Drysdale in his like morning skate availability, and it was favorable of Andrae in his assessment. Just like, yeah, he sees the ice better. He just has that part of his game already. How much confidence do you think they have in Emil? They're playing him in the top 4. They're definitely leaning on him for 20 minutes. And how high do you think they think his ceiling is?
Well, I can't speak to how high John Tortorella thinks his ceiling is because he could change his mind in a week. I don't know. I can tell you the Flyers really like him. And I can tell you, I thought he was one of the Flyers' best players, if not their best player in this game. That pairing with Ristolainen tonight, I thought was great. I thought they were strong all game long, making plays, getting the puck out of the defensive zone. John Tortorella praised Ristolainen for how much he's moving his feet right now, which I think is an accurate assessment. And Andre's just playing good hockey. I mean, it's great to see him get his first goal. That was an awesome celebration. He was clearly very pumped. So real happy for him. But to answer your question about where Andrae fits, to me, there's no world where you can even consider sending him.
No.
Like, he's ready. And not only is he ready, like, I hate to even make this comparison because it's a lofty one, but like, you kind of wonder if he can be like the Sean Walker of this season for the Flyers, where you kind of just fall into a quality top 4 defenseman that you didn't think was going to be a top 4 defenseman this season. Like, he's solidifying that second pair because now that you have Sanheim and York back, like, Sanheim still looks awesome. Would have been awesome if he would have scored on one of his like 5 chances in overtime, but he played a good game otherwise. York is still maybe trying to shake the rust off a little bit, but we know he's a good defenseman. If that Andrae Risto pair can be a quality second pair, suddenly maybe you're a team that can carry play at 5-on-5 again, the way you did most of last season before you traded away Sean Walker. I don't think there's a world where you can even consider sending Emil Andrae down. I also think that I've liked what I've seen from Helge Grans, but that poor play on the 4th goal might have been his ticket out of here.
He is, they gave him a shot, and if he's the first guy up, cool.
Yeah, fine with that.
But he's kind of what he is right now. All right, Charlie, hit us with those 3 stars. Start number 3.
Third star of the game, I'm going to give it to Matvei Michkov, honestly. And it's primarily because he kind of did it again. Now, obviously, they ultimately don't win the game, but he did it again with that goal to halt their big momentum swing. It was just a moment where it seemed like on that shift, he just kind of decided, like, I'm doing it myself. He was desperately trying to get the puck to Owen Tippett, and Owen Tippett kept flubbing it. And then finally he's like, well, screw it. I'll just get the puck myself and put it in. And he did, which was honestly very funny to watch in real time. But also, it just speaks to kind of the column I wrote about him on Saturday about the fact that he just seems like he has that knack for coming through when you really need him. Now, obviously, he hits the post in the shootout, so he didn't come through in every moment. But that goal was huge. And really, you know, if they find a way to get to the second intermission up 4-2, I think that is the stopper goal that they need. And I thought he had a strong game overall. Obviously, scores a 5-on-5 goal, so maybe that'll shut up those Montreal fans. But overall, strong game, made a lot of plays, came through with a big goal. Matvei Michkov, 3rd star.
Yeah, that's I loved what I saw out of him tonight. 4 shots on goal, second most he's had this season. Shoot more, kid. Shoot more. Yeah. All right, star number 2.
Okay, star number 2, I'm going to go with Ilya Samsonov. Honestly, I don't think he was perfect in this game, but I think he came up huge when they needed him the most, which was those final maybe 6 or 7 minutes of the third period and then the entirety of overtime. And obviously the shootout too, I guess, if you want to count that. I tend to ignore the skills competition in terms of evaluating guys mostly. But Samsonov, he came through when they really needed him. You know, maybe if he would have been lights out the entire game, they wouldn't have needed him at that point. But the Flyers control the final 13, 14 minutes of actual play in this game. And the only reason why they don't win that game before the shootout is because Samsonov was that good. He made a ton of awesome saves. For that reason, he's my second star.
All right, Chuck, star number 1.
Star number 1, I'm actually going to go with Emil Andrae.
Oh.
I think he was really, really good in this game. He gets his first NHL goal, and that's an awesome thing for him. But I thought overall, he was just making plays. He was making plays. He was doing smart things. I thought the Flyers' second pair, him and Ristolainen, was their best pair by a pretty significant margin tonight. They drove play to a pretty ridiculous degree. Andrae just looks like the real deal. He really does. I mentioned that Walker comparison. Again, it's lofty, and I don't know if he's going to be that good. But again, they desperately needed someone to solidify that second pair, and I think Andre's doing it. That reason, and the fact that he just had a really good game, in my estimation, he's my first star.
You heard it here first, folks. Charlie O'Connor says Emil Andrae better than Lane Hudson. All right, that is Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat writer, Charlie O'Connor, coming to us live from the Wells Fargo Center. We will talk again. When do they play next? Wednesday? Yeah, we'll talk.
Wednesday.
We will talk post-game Wednesday, Charlie. Until then, enjoy your day off tomorrow.
Sounds good. Well, we'll actually be on StreamYard, right? Because it's a road game. I'm not going to Nashville.
Oh, yeah, that'll be great. That'll be great
yes,
stuff.
So I'll be doing pregame with you as well, I guess.
Oh, that's awesome. I forgot all about that. All right. Charlie on pregame. What a holiday it is. All right. Talk to you then, Chuck.
All right. See you guys.
We all silly like the mayor.